Okay, I'm gonna go in here.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Annapolis Film Festival Preparation 2024. I'm Tracy Garrett. I'm the Director of Development. I have had the privilege of meeting some of you already, and those that I haven't, maybe I've emailed with you, but I tell you what, I can't wait to meet everybody and join you in celebrating an absolute testament to the power of film that is the Annapolis Film Festival. So thanks for joining us tonight. And as I said before, tonight's gathering is a way to orient you as generous and kind, and we're grateful for you, sponsors and donors. And we want you to get to the most out of the festival. So we want you to set you up for success. And so we have some tips and tricks for you. So tonight we have the couple people from the festival that I'll introduce. But we'll start with the director, the co-founder and director of the festival, Patty White, and then we'll pick it up with Caitlin Ryan, director of operations, and then we'll go with Derek Warren just before Caitlin, and so Patty and Derek are going to tell us about the lineup that they've curated expertly, and can't wait to hear about it. So take it away, Patty.
Hi, everybody. This is, I can't believe we're here. Really, I just cannot believe we're this many days away. I think Derek and I felt like this was never going to happen. And we didn't even know if we were going to have films. And here we are with a slate that we're so proud of and that we really want to share with all of you, and hope you get out there and get to see a lot of films, because we've got some doozies this time and some interesting out of the box selections, which we're excited about as well. So I know you guys are going to have questions, but I think what I'd just like to say, I'm just going to say that opening night is really, it's just a wonderful opening night. It's a perfect opening night film because it's inspirational, it's a comedy, and it's a dramedy, and it's got everything you want in a film that makes you feel like you just went out and had a great night. So Thelma, it's with June Squibb, the 94-year-old actress who was an Academy Award nominated. She didn't start acting in film till she was 61 years old. She was a musical theater person for years, and she's just outstanding in this film. And it's very, very special. So I'm so glad. I'm hoping all of you will come to opening night. We have a very big night. We have our pre-party for all of you special donors, and we have at the Bowen, and that's going to be really fun. And then we have the film, and then we go to the rooftop of the Hillman Garage for a first. You know, we have top of the town party with food by the Atlas Group and music by For the Road, and it's going to be spectacular. We should have a really pretty night. They're saying it's going to be beautiful here. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, I just wanted to give you the big opening night push, and I'm going to turn it over to Derek and let him ride through some of this, and I'll chat in with him.
Hi, everyone. So I'm reporting live from beautiful USC campus here, where it's sunny and I guess 70 degrees. But I'm anxious to get out there to Annapolis. I'll be coming out there this weekend. And I understand the cherry blossoms are in full bloom right now, and I hope they last for our visitors that are coming into town. We're really excited about all the guests we have this year. I think we have more celebrities this year than we had last year. We also have incredible films, and it was a year that we were a little bit worried that was kind of what we call a dry year, but as always, Patty and I turn over every stone to try to find these treasures, and we really always try to put together a program with the audience in mind, something that you'll enjoy and not feel like you're wasting your time. So we really have the creme de la creme in our program, our lineup. And so what would be the easiest way to do this? Shall I share my screen with the schedule, or I don't know if Caitlin or Tracy or anyone else is there controlling anything that people
Derek,
might see?
you have share screen capability.
Okay,
That's what we
great.
did last year, but if you want me to project it, I'm happy to do so.
Okay, thanks, Caitlin. I'll go ahead and share screen. because I have the schedule pulled up. So let me know when you see, hold on, desktop number 2. Do you see the schedule there,
Yes.
everybody?
You have to have
So,
glasses, but yes. Get your
oh
glasses
no,
out.
you got to put the, oh no, okay.
That's okay.
Is
Go ahead,
is my face taking up the whole screen instead of the desktop
No,
screen?
no, we can't even see
Okay.
you.
So we have opening night that Patty talked about on Thursday. So we're just going to move on to Friday. I'm also very excited about Thelma. It is a perfect film. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what we try to do is give you 2 chances to see many of the films because we know it's hard to make decisions. So, all of the main short film programs and the documentary shorts programs are showed twice. Most of the feature films are showed twice, except for big spotlights, which we try to make a special event out of. So it's usually just one time, unless we decide to do an extra encore screening on Sunday. There's a lot of TBAs listed on Sunday evening, so keep that in mind. Usually we announce by Sunday morning what the TBAs will be, and it's a blend of jury award winners, and of course the audience award winners are shown during Best of Fest, but then sometimes there will be another film that we show a second time on Sunday evening. So keeping that in mind, let's start with Friday. Can everyone see this? Any questions so far? I guess you can chat with me if
We can see it, looking good.
hey, let me know if there are any, whoever's checking the chat, let me know if there are questions. All right. So starting at 10 a.m., as usual, well, we have our, okay, where is Maryland Hall, Maine? Oh, okay. So, we always have our educational showcase in the morning where we invite a bunch of high school students to see, and we're showing the film Empire Waste. It's a private event, but the public are welcome to come to Maryland Hall for the environmental showcase starting at noon. The film is called Common Ground, all about how soil regeneration is the future of saving the planet. So many things rely upon good healthy soil and agriculture, and so I know Patty's putting together a panel for that with different experts in the field as usual for our environmental showcase. um should we go by venue or by time of day? What do you think is the best way to do this?
Probably venue. Maybe, what do
Okay.
you think? Time of day to everybody? It's clearer that way?
I was feeling like time of day, but if anyone attending has a strong preference either way, please chime in.
I think
Also,
if
I just
time
want to say about Common Ground, the panel we're putting together is going to have a soil scientist. She's young, she's great. And we're going to have also, I think, moderated by the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. And we're going to have a farmer on there. It's going to be really interesting. And the film is an excellent film that's just not stuffy and boring at all. It's very user friendly. So for anyone who's interested.
it's fascinating and entertaining. I wasn't bored at all. And you know me, I'm like the litmus test for documentaries these days. A lot of these documentaries definitely hold my attention. I love them. But so, okay, if we're doing time of day, I should not fail to mention, of course, we have coffee talks in the morning at 9 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So all of you gold pass holders, you can go to those. Silver pass holders, and that's, you never know who's going to show up. I mean, Patty and I have an idea of who's going to show up, but we don't publicize that till you find out when you get there. It's usually people, directors, filmmakers, and actors who have films premiering later that day, so they can kind of promote those films. So, and obviously that's at the Ram's Head on stage like it was last year. Over at the Powerhouse, which is next to the Graduate Hotel in that separate building, there are 4 panels in a row starting at 10:30 a.m. going all the way through. The last one ends at 4 p.m. So each panel is an hour long. We can talk more about those later if you want, but I really want to get into the films. So starting at 10 a.m., you either have the choice of seeing a documentary, First We Bombed New Mexico. The filmmaker Lois Lipman will be there for a Q&A and an intro. That film won the Audience Award and Jury Prize at the Santa Fe International Festival, where I programmed just the short films. I program that so I can find all these amazing shorts that I bring to Annapolis, and you're going to be really excited about these. But first, we bombed New Mexico. Obviously, in this year of Oppenheimer, it's like a nice companion piece to that the Oppenheimer movie didn't show, all the effects on the local people there and the cases of cancer, and then the activism of trying to deal with that and make the government aware of this. Then across from that, this scheduling probably wasn't the best. I'm realizing we have two docs across from each other. So we have the documentary shorts programs over at Asbury. Patty, do you want to say anything about the documentary shorts program?
Well, they're just,
quite a
all of
nice
them are so
variety.
good. They're all so good. Really, really worth seeing. The good part is that if both of these films, First We Bombed New Mexico and the documentary shorts, play exactly the same on Saturday. So if you see one on Sunday and you miss the other one, then you could see the other one on Saturday. So, I mean, on
Yeah,
Friday, then you could see
Friday
the
and
other one on
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Yep,
So
you can switch.
documentary shorts are great.
So, and we have our themes this year: no guts, no glory. So all the docs kind of deal with people that are taking risks and chances, whether it's a blind person climbing the summit of a mountain, or these women wave ski surfers. Do they call them wave ski or wave surf? What do they call them? Surf ski? Anyways,
Wave
it's a different
surfers, I
kind of
think.
surfing.
Yeah.
There is a wonderful film about an immigration trying to pass the citizenship test. So that's, all these films, people are setting a goal for themselves and surpassing them. They're really inspiring. Okay, so then we go into the noon hour. We have at Asbury, following that is A New Kind of Wilderness. It's a Norwegian documentary that won the jury prize at Sundance this year for Best World Documentary. It's about a family living off the grid in the woods. And then I don't know, how much can we spoil in this film? You find out pretty early on what happened to the mother of the
Right.
family.
The mother passes away and the children are with the dad, and there's a little farmette that they go to from time to time, a house, but they pretty much live off the grid. No, they teach school at home, homeschool. And then things begin to change in their lives. And I won't go into all of that, but it's a very fascinating documentary.
Beautifully filmed, and it's paired with a short film from Norway that's produced by the same producer of another short film I'll be talking about very soon. So the producer of the short will be there for a Q&A, but we don't have the filmmakers for the feature of A New Kind of Wilderness. Across from that, over in the Bowen Theater at Maryland Hall, is Free Time. So if you're wanting a narrative film by then, this is a really funny satire, kind of a millennial Gen Z satire of people impulsively deciding to quit their job and thinking, oh, and now I can start living, and then realizing, wait, how do we live without a job and money? And so it's funny, he kind of sparks a whole bunch of people to do the same thing, and I don't want to tell you where it goes, but it's pitch perfect satire. The performances, it's hilarious. It's by the same filmmakers who did the film Yelling Fire in an Empty Theater, which we had 2 years ago. So this is kind of a youthful film, but also I think we can all appreciate it. Patty, you liked it. It was really funny.
I did.
So after that, going to around 2:30 p.m. in the Bowen, starts our narrative shorts program. So right there at 2:30, shorts program 1. I'm very excited about this program because it contains the North American premiere of a Norwegian short film called Camping in Paradise. And this is directed and produced by the same filmmakers who did Night Ride. If any of you saw that a few years ago at our festival in 2022, it won our jury prize. There it is right there. And if you haven't seen it, it's available to watch for free on the New Yorker's channel. I don't know if you can see that, but that film, it won our jury prize, and on the jury was this woman, Sharon Badal, who programs short films for Tribeca. She loved the film so much, she invited it to Tribeca after Annapolis, where it won their Oscar qualifying award. So it set it on its path for Oscar nomination. It was nominated last year for a short film. So we have their brand new short. I had to ask permission from Tribeca to show it before them this year. So I'm very excited about Camping in Paradise. And the producer Heidi and the two lead actors, Espen and Audryn, will both be there. So this is a really exciting premiere for this short film. It's hilarious. I mean, I should tell you, give you a little bit of a warning because
Give
it
'em a
might not be
heads
for
up.
everyone. But it's a couple, they're driving and their car breaks down and they end up having to spend the night at a nudist colony. So there is definitely a lot of that on the
Nudity.
screen, but it's done very, I think, tastefully and very charmingly and funny. And I mean, our jury are already, I'm hearing back from our jurors, are loving it. They're raving about how it's just professional, well acted, and smart. This program also contains, this I would say is the shorts narrative program that contains our prestige shorts, because it also contains a film that was nominated for an Oscar this year, 95 Senses. It was one of the 5 animated Oscar nominees this year. I don't know if any of you have seen the Oscar shorts that are touring in theaters about, it's a man thinking about the different senses: taste, smell, vision, hearing. And I don't know if I should give it away. You find out at the end his predicament and why he's dwelling on trying to appreciate these 5 senses. But it's directed by Jared Hess and Jerusha Hess. Jared did Napoleon Dynamite. Jerusha did Austin Land. So big filmmakers. It was nominated for an Oscar. There's also a wonderful short film called 20 by a British director who's coming to the festival, and the lead actress, Lydia, who's a ballet dancer in real life, and she may be up for a role in the 3rd season of Bridgerton. So Jason and Lydia are coming to the festival. So Shorts Program 1's exciting. We have a lot of filmmakers here, a lot of international filmmakers here for it. There's some other films in that program as well. I'll let you read all about it, but it's the journey, not the destination. So that's the theme for Shorts Program 1. Across from that, over at Asbury, we have a documentary called Every Little Thing, which was the hit at Sundance. It's about a woman who takes care of hummingbirds that are injured and has kind of a hummingbird retreat here in LA. I want to go try to find her place and meet her. But it's fascinating because it's filmed with this micro camera that is able to capture the detail of hummingbirds and slow it down so you can see them flapping their wings and hovering and everything they do. And who doesn't like to, I'm fascinated by hummingbirds when I just see a live one out the window. So you get to see this on the screen. This documentary also, just so you know, plays again on Sunday in Maryland Hall in the big theater. So, you know, if you don't get a chance to see it on Friday, you might want to try to catch it on Sunday on the big screen there. But
It's
this
also
film,
gotten so much, I mean, it was such a popular film at Sundance. I mean, people just raved about this film.
and it's a feel-good doc. It's not a depressing doc. It's fascinating. It's touching. It's fun. Once again, it passed the Derek litmus test of not being bored in a documentary. So Every Little Thing is really unique. And then across from there at 2:45, we have another really inspiring, great documentary called Maestra. This is in the big Maryland Hall. We thought it would be perfect in the hall that hosts our symphony, right? And our music performances. But this is about a women's competition to become a conductor of orchestras. So it follows 5 different women finalists around as they prepare and compete in this big annual competition. The filmmakers will not be here for Maestra or Every Little Thing. I believe Maestra is only showing once in the festival, so this is your only time to see Maestra. But Every Little Thing, once it will play again on Sunday, and Shorts Program 1 will play again on Saturday. So you have 2 chances to see those and only 1 chance to see Maestra, for whatever that's worth. Okay, then going on to 4:00 p.m. over at St. John's, we thought this was the perfect film to show at St. John's with their Great Books program. It's a movie about Flannery O'Connor, that woman author from the mid 1900s or mid 20th century. And she wrote a lot of short stories, and her character is portrayed by Maya Hawke, the daughter of Ethan Hawke, who directs the film. She does a great job. I saw this film at Telluride, and I met Maya and Ethan and Laura Linney, who plays her mother. And what's really fun about this is they bring to life all the different short stories. And so Maya and Laura Linney are playing different characters. So it's really fun to see Laura Linney, who's such an incredible actress, to see her transform into all these different characters, many of them kind of inspired by Flannery's tumultuous relationship with her mom. So they're very complex, difficult characters. But I love it because it's almost like a series of shorts within a feature film, little vignettes of these short stories being brought to life. But then the overall story is how Flannery O'Connor was dealing with her lupus diagnosis. So she goes home to live with her mom at her place. And Patty, do you have anything you want to add about Wildcat?
No, I think it's just, it's fascinating. I mean, I think particularly people who are really interested in literature and poetry and, if you go to that movie, don't expect it to be a linear type of story. It's sort of an oddball
It's a
film.
bit experimental in a
It's
way.
experimental a bit, but
I mean,
it's fascinating.
And we have this playing again on Sunday. So
Right.
my pick to see this would probably be on Sunday if it's not competing with anything you want to see, because there's so much good stuff going on Friday. You might want to get all, and Laura Linney unfortunately is not coming. We put the invitation out to her. And her schedule's so packed. So nobody will be there for Wildcat. I hope a lot of the St. John's students show. I should be required class viewing for them, because I'm sure Flannery O'Connor is probably on their reading list.
Right.
But anyways, that's Wildcat. Then back over at Maryland Hall, the main theater, we have Taste of Freedom, which is a film, a wonderful, charming film from Ukraine about a young female chef who leaves her small town to move to the big city. And I don't believe it's Kiev. It's actually another large city in Ukraine. What is it? It's like Yliv, YLIV or something. So, but I'm not really quite sure when the story is supposed to take place. Obviously, they produced this and wrote this before the war broke out. So it's a little bit of an escapist fantasy, because she moves to the big city and finds this cookbook by a famous, renowned Ukrainian cook chef, sort of like Julie and Julia. And she starts doing the recipes in the book, and the chef appears to her almost like a fairy godmother. And then, by the end of so it's a really fun, feel good, aspiring movie. And she wants to become a famous chef. So if you love movies about food and it's beautifully filmed, it's very charming. Patty, do you have anything to add about Taste of Freedom?
No, it's just that the filmmaking is stunning. And really, the cinematography is gorgeous. And you see Ukraine the way it was before the war.
Yeah. So that's at 4:45 at Maryland Hall. And I believe that plays again on Sunday as well. So you have a chance to see Wildcat and Taste of Freedom again on Sunday. Meanwhile, over at Asbury, we have a documentary that I believe is playing twice as well. Yeah. It's called Medea. It starts at 5 p.m. at Asbury. And Doug Potash, is he on this call? I don't know if Doug wants to say a few words about this film.
Do you want to say anything?
He's going to introduce it, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything, Doug? Doug, do you want to say anything?
Hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, right. Yeah, I just want to say it's kind of my best friend growing up and college roommate's son is the director of the film, and he's won a couple other documentary things. And this film has won the New York Documentary Fest first place this year. And it's about a young girl who was kidnapped by ISIS and what she goes through. And then when she finally gets out, trying to find her parents, her family, what's going on. And besides Hassan filming it, she was also given a camera to film part of her travails at the time. So it's a very special film.
She's going to be here for the festival. Both Medea herself and the director Hassan will be here.
And Hassan,
the thing about Medea, she's 19 years old now. She was kidnapped when she was 12. She was gone for a couple of years. She lived with ISIS. And it deals with the PTSD and everything that she went through on the return. She's in this country now. I don't think she's even allowed to return. She speaks no English, so a translator will have to be there as well. But she is coming to our festival, so this is a very exciting thing.
Thank you.
Yes. And I believe Medea is playing again on Saturday as well at... Where is it on Saturday? Oh, there it is at Asbury at 2:45 on Saturday. But anyways, Friday it's playing at 5 p.m. at Asbury. and you know, after that, they're off to the Cleveland Festival. This film is playing so many festivals and winning
Right.
awards at a lot of festivals. Okay, so across from there, back at the Bowen Theater, we have Shorts Program 2 at 4:45. Growing Up is Hard to Do. I believe we have some filmmakers here for this program. It has one of our favorite, Patty, I know it's got one of your favorite shorts
Yes.
called They Grow Up So Fast. Has anybody here seen it? Have you shown it to some of the board members and some of the
I think
people,
we
or-
showed it to some of our board members, but nobody else has seen it, but you're in
It's-
for a treat if you see
yeah.
it.
I don't want to spoil it. It's
No,
so
don't say
fun.
anything.
It's fun, but Growing Up is Hard to Do has a mix of comedy and drama, and it's mostly about well, we have stories about children, but also teenage angst, and then young adults, and then growing into, you know, elderhood and adulthood. So it's just different. Many of them are dealing with problematic relationships with their parents and kids. So that's Shorts Program 2. And who's here for that one? Can't remember.
Okay, you have a few
Is that
people.
Rabbit Hole? Is Rabbit Hole and Growing? No, that's Ignorance is Bliss. Okay. Well, anyways, I'll keep going. All right. So then 6:30 p.m. we finally get our Boys and Girls Club venue opened. Earlier, we're doing a special animated film for just the kids that are there at the Boys and Girls Club, but it will open to the public at 6:30 p.m. with this really fun satire. I really go for satire, don't I? Especially this year, we have a lot of satire. I think it's my favorite genre now. But Coup takes place at the turn of the century when there was a pandemic. Was it the Spanish flu back then in 1910 or 19?
No,
And it
1918.
1918, and Peter Sarsgaard and Billy Magnuson are in this film. They're not going to be coming to the festival, but the film sort of parallels a lot of what we're going through now with what we went through with the pandemic and with the fake news and the press and the politics. And so basically this surrounds this wealthy journalist who's all comfortably quarantined at his mansion on I want to call it Egg Island, but that's the Great Gatsby. But it's one of those little islands outside of New York. But he's writing up news articles as if he's there on the front lines in New York, and people find this out and they want to expose him. And Peter Sarsgaard plays this imposter who comes in pretending to be a new chef, and he gets the staff to revolt against the wealthy owners, and it becomes a power struggle. It's really a clever, fun film, fun satirical film. So if that's what you're in the mood for, then back at the Bowen again, we have Shorts Program 3. I put all the main 4 narrative shorts programs in a row here for you. You could just watch them all in a row if you wanted to, but Shorts Program 3 is called Ignorance is Bliss. This is such a solid lineup. It's got 2 films that were on the shortlist for the Oscar this year. They didn't become Oscar nominated, but one of them is called Dead Cat, or in French, it's called Chat Mort, and it's about parents who don't want to break the news to their daughter that the cat has died, so they have it stuffed at a taxidermist. And I've seen this concept done many times, but this film does something different with a twist that I've never seen done that's hilarious. I don't want to give it away, but obviously Ignorance is Bliss. The whole program deals with people not wanting to confront reality, or maybe over confronting it so there are many hot button topics in this program. There's a kid growing up with a QAnon mother, conspiracy theorist mom. There is a discussion about diversity in PC politics, particularly at like an art school, that they do a promo video to advertise their program, and then somebody realizes maybe it's not diverse enough. And then there's the other film that was nominated or was on the shortlist for an Oscar is called The Anne Frank Gift Shop, which really balances this line of being, could this be offensive? But it is so funny. And then by the end, it's actually quite touching. But it's basically a marketing agency hires this millennial, I don't know, social media consultant to revamp the gift shop at the Anne Frank house. And she's discussing ideas like, oh, let's put her face on tote bags, and can we modify her to make her look smiling more, and then maybe we should publish a line of journals and inspire people to start keeping diaries. I mean, she just doesn't get what the real horrible story was about, but it's more a satire on how to reach that generation and the kind of the absurdity of it all. And it's really quite funny and intelligent, and it's been winning awards at all the Jewish film festivals. So I promise you, I don't think it will. I mean, it's always going to be somebody who's going to be offended by something, but hopefully they'll see past what it's trying to do ultimately. And then by the end, I thought it really brought it around to quite a touching ending. So these are all in Ignorance is Bliss program shorts 3. So that's at 7 p.m. Then, okay, this is a really tough hour. We've got a lot of good stuff happening Friday night. So 7:30 p.m. in the main theater at Maryland Hall, we have Patty, I'm just going to let you talk about Fresh Kills because this
Yeah,
is your
so
discovery from
right.
Palm Springs.
Yeah, so Fresh Kills is an independent film that Jennifer Esposito wrote and directed. It's her debut in both writing and directing. She's an actress. You probably know her from Blue Bloods and a bunch of other things that she's done over the years. So this film is about the mafia. It's about a mafia family in Staten Island in the 80s. It's very it's very edgy, but it's very real. And the acting is superb in it. The young daughters, it's from a female point of view. It's from the wife, who's Jennifer Esposito, and the 2 teenage daughters who discover that their father is actually a criminal, a mob boss. So they have to come to terms with living with this. And that is really, we haven't seen that before in any of these mob stories. And it's so well done. It's really special. And it's been at a lot of great festivals, and it's doing very well. And we're really excited because Jennifer is coming here for the entire weekend. She's going to be doing the Q&A for this with one of her lead young actresses, Emily Bader, who's going to break in on the scene. She's up for like a big series right now. She's phenomenal. And the 2 of them are going to be here with the producer of the film. So they'll do the Q&A, and then she's going to do a couple panels for us. She's going to do the women's panel on Sunday. She's going to do the director's panel on Saturday. She's going to do the casting panel on Friday, and she's just going to be around. So it's going to be very exciting to have her in the mix here. So,
and it's interesting that another actress who's coming to the festival but won't be here till Saturday is Edie Falco, Miss Tony Soprano. I forget what her name was.
Yeah,
in
what
the
is
show.
it? We only have mob people who have played mob wives.
Yeah, so we've got to get a picture of Edie and Jennifer on the red carpet at some point. Maybe, hopefully, Jennifer will come to Edie's film on Saturday. But
Jennifer will be on Thursday's opening night red carpet, though. She will be here for that. So
right.
We're excited. I mean, that's our Spotlight Friday night. It's going to be wonderful. So that's just another thing to see.
Yeah,
Derek,
so that's
keep
Fresh
going.
Kills at 7:30, and then across from that at 7:30 we have another big world premiere. Actually, it's called Possum Trot, and the writer directors Josh and Rebecca, I've known them for decades because they did this wonderful short film back in the 2000s called The Butterfly Circus, which played so many festivals, won all these awards, went viral around the world. A very inspiring film. So this is their first feature film. They moved to Texas, this little town called Possum Trot, to research this story of this small, is it a Baptist church, or I'm not sure which church it is, but it's a Black church in Texas, and the preacher and his wife decide to adopt these children, and they adopt these really hard to place troubled children, and
Actually,
it
they're
inspires
foster. It's foster care.
foster, yes.
And it's also a Black town. It's a Black church
Okay.
in a Black town.
Yes, and so they inspire their whole congregation to start adopting. And how many kids do they end up adopting by the end?
77 kids are fostered or adopted by the end, and it's based on a true story. So it's powerful.
So they'll be there for Q&A, and
Right.
it's being distributed by Angel Studios with a big release this summer.
And that will play again on Saturday.
That will play again on Saturday. But we thought it was wonderful to have it at Asbury for their big Friday night premiere, and Patty is
yes, the Pastor Carletta Allen will be introducing it over there.
Okay. And then if you're in the mood for another dark comedy that has really been also getting a lot of attention at festivals. It won an award at the Venice Film Festival in August. It won an award at Palm Springs. It's called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. So I think that kind of self-describes the film. I don't need to get into what that's about, other than
Really
that it's
good, though. It's a really
really
good film.
charming and funny. It's not a scary vampire film. It's more another satire about some family dysfunction. It's kind of like that What We Do in the Shadows series, if any of you are fans of that, mixed with a bit of Let the Right One In and Twilight and some of the teen vampire loves. It's kind of a rom-com. Anyways, so that's charming. And then the final shorts program of the night at 9:15 p.m. is, we always kind of do an edgy comedy program late at night. This is one's called Karma's a Bitch, and the I is an upside down, is an exclamation mark. But obviously it's about karma and people's decisions coming back to, haunt them. So that's mostly comedies, and we have several filmmakers. It's interesting. Two of the films in there are about con artists and scams. And if you notice, the opening night film Thelma is about a woman who gets scammed out of a huge amount of money by phone con artists, a phone scam. So in Karma's a Bitch, we actually get to see a short from the point of view of the person doing the scamming, and how the tables are turned. And then there's a wonderful film called Scammers about a father and daughter that have a scheme to like puncture car tires and then pretend to be a tire repair service and all this. And then there's all these, it's a fun, wonderful program. Okay, so moving on to Saturday. Some of these will be repeats, so I won't have to explain every film over. So Saturday morning, once again, you have a choice between documentary shorts at Asbury or First We Bombed New Mexico at the Bowen Theater. But also 10 a.m. at the Boys and Girls Club, you have a chance to see the film that was our educational spotlight that we showed to the high schoolers on Friday. It's called Empire Waste. It stars Rainn Wilson and Missy Pyle, and the two lead actresses playing the young high school girls are going to be here for this screening, and we're so excited. And the director, Patty, who is a comedian, right?
Yeah, she's a comedy writer in New York, Claire Ayub, and she'll be coming down with these two girls that are amazing.
This is a hot ticket. A lot of people, even filmmakers coming to the festival, have said, "Oh my gosh, I'm dying to see Empire Waste." I mean, this was on the IndieWire wish list for Sundance this year, and I was surprised it didn't show up in the Sundance program. But Empire Waste is about inclusivity with fashion design for like plus sized models and different body types, and so they develop their own fashion line to appeal to that, and it brings a lot of
it's also about
harmony.
It's also about bullying and being ostracized and finding your group of friends that are all the other, all these different weirdo type, what people would think would be weird kids sort of locked together, and one of them has this talent for designing clothes and making them. So she just pushes everybody out. It's very inspiring.
Out of the box.
And fun. It's
out of the
box.
comfort zone, out of the box.
Out of the box.
Out of the box fashions, and people, many people learn to accept themselves and build their self-esteem up. It's a wonderful story with a wonderful message, but it doesn't feel too preachy. It's actually really charming and enjoyable and sweet. So then we move on to, obviously we have the shorts challenge at 10 a.m. in the main auditorium of Maryland Hall, and we all know that pitching contest where 5 of the finalists are brought to Annapolis to pitch their short film ideas. Last year, it was won by Josh and Luke, who are USC alumni. So they've finished their short, which we will be premiering this year, and we'll talk about it a little later where we're showing that. But they will be there to introduce the program and say a few words, and then the 5 finalists will pitch. And then, as always, Saturday night at the Bash is where we announce who wins, who gets the is it a $30,000 production package?
It's up to about 30 in terms of what in kind they get. They get
camera package,
all kinds of
editing,
packages, camera,
sound,
production, sound, design, and all of that.
So that's a fun interactive part of the festival. The audience does the audience still vote on this? There's a panel of industry judges that are there on stage asking them questions. They get a percentage of the vote, obviously, and the audience also gets to vote. So the the finalists are pitching their ideas to the audience, looking at you in the audience with their presentation on the screen behind them, and also pitching to the panel of judges. So it's a little bit like Shark Tank meets American Idol and The Voice, or So You Think You Can Dance. So
Yeah.
You Think You Can Pitch. All right. So then we have in the main auditorium. Why? Oh, why is Maryland, Maine on here twice? I'm just noticing it. Oh, I think it's because, okay, yeah. Huh. So the panel, director's panel, is actually in a room at Maryland Hall. I forget which room number it is, but the sailing showcase is in the main auditorium right after the shorts challenge. And Gary Jobson will be there for the Q&A. We're showing a documentary that he had. Patty, do you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
Unfurling the World?
this is a really interesting film that he made in 2012 because for the Mystic Seaport Museum, and it's never really been shown. And because of the strikes this year, there were no really interesting sailing films. So I asked Gary, he's our board chair now, and I said, you know, you have anything? He said, well, there's this film that was really that they had me do. So I took a look at it. It is old footage from 1936 to 1956 of the sailing ship that this couple, Irving and Electa Johnson, took these young people, 16 to 24-year-olds, around the world. Each voyage was a year and a half. These parents would let these kids go for that long a time. And the footage is all from all these journeys, 7 journeys around the world, where they stopped at every island and Polynesia. And you just see the real effects of this on the kids and on where they went. It's just fascinating. And the oldest footage, you know, you can find, and how they relate to these young people. So this, in 2012, when Gary got this footage, he interviewed some of the people who were kids and now 70, 80 years old. So he's got those interviews with those looking back at themselves when they were young. So it's fascinating. And I think the sailors of Annapolis are going to enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, and are we the first festival to actually show
Nobody's
this?
seen this. No, this
yeah.
hasn't been anywhere except the Mystic Seaport.
Great. So, and yes, I just got confirmation that the panel is in the community room, which is directly across the hall from the Ticket and Pass Central room, which is room number 205 in Maryland Hall. So we have the panel, the directors roundtable there on Saturday, and we have the women's panel there on Sunday. Okay, so then downstairs again in the Bowen Theater, we start repeating the shorts programs again. So if you missed it on Friday, you have another chance to see shorts program 1 here. Over at the Boys and Girls Club, we start, it's new this year. We've always had the Black experience and the Jewish experience. This year we've had the Latinx experience. I combine the 2 words, and it's a double feature. The first one is a documentary called All We Carry, about the refugees from Honduras who are given shelter in Seattle by a Jewish synagogue or a Jewish community. And it sounds like Patty saw it at Palm Springs. It sounds wonderful. I know I'm going to love it. It's got a lot of heart. And Patty, it's kind of inspiring. And
yeah, this is not the border story, even though we see them crossing and the hardships they've had, this young couple. They find their way on a bus to Seattle, and then they're taken in by this sanctuary, a synagogue, and they're given a place to live. And we follow them for 2 years as they're trying to get asylum and the complexities of all of that. So it's a very interesting story. They end up having kids, and just the family that's built around them that actually gives them hope that they can have a life here. So it's very inspiring.
yeah, and then after
the
that,
director will be here. The director
yes,
is going to be coming with the film. So
Katie Vogue, she'll be here.
Yeah,
that's great. And then I'll tell you about the second part of the Latin experience in the next hour, but the other film playing at this time is This World Is Not My Own. This is playing at Asbury. This is a documentary about a Black folk artist whose work was discovered later in her life, but it's probably one of the most renowned folk artists that uses a lot of found materials to create these little dioramas and dolls and worlds almost. So the film is done in a really unique way. It's part animated to tell the story. The story of her life is narrated by the actress, the Emmy Award winning actress from Orange is the New Black. Is it Udu Azubo? I'm forgetting her name.
Right.
But she narrates it. It's very artistic documentary, and the producer will be here for the Q&A. So
Right.
that's called This World Is Not My Own. Then going back to the Boys and Girls Club, part 2 of the Latin Experience is Musica, which is a documentary about a Cuban music academy and this program in America that goes there annually to bring equipment or instruments and to repair instruments. And at one point, I think they take them on a field trip to New Orleans. So it's basically about this really prestigious conservatory in Cuba, but because of their position in the world, they are lacking a lot of resources. So that this film played at Telluride last year. It's by Rob Friedkin and, oh gosh, somebody help me. Caitlin, do you know the directors of Musica? And they did the Celluloid Closet and all these
Right, they're well
documentaries.
known.
I think they've won Oscars.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm blanking on their names. But anyways, Musica, we're actually pairing it with, we have a special treat for you. A short film that's going to play before Musica is called Cuba Ahora. And it was directed by someone named Patty White and Lee Anderson back in 2011 or 2010. So it's kind of a fascinating time capsule of what Cuba was like then. Of course, now we're hearing all these stories that are heartbreaking about Cuba and just the situation there right now. So it'll be interesting to see both Patty's documentary from 2011, 2010, and then Musica, which was in the last few years. I don't know how many years they documented this, but if you're in the mood for kind of music and Cuban culture, come to see that that double feature or showcase. Then across from there, back in the Bowen, is Shorts Program 2 again. And then in the main theater of Maryland Hall, we have Empire. This is a Danish filmmaker, but it's all set. It's another satire similar to Coup, but it's a different setting. It's on the island of St. Croix when it was still a colony of Denmark and with the slave trade. And it's told from the point of view of two women of color. One is free, and she is actually the mistress of the governor, the white governor from Denmark. So she kind of enjoys a privileged life in this fancy mansion and gets to be part of upper crust society. But her friend there's a maid and she is not free, but they have this system there in St. Croix where you can buy your freedom. So they keep having these auctions where they are going to auction off a slave, but the slave can opt to buy themselves. So it's very absurd. I guess this happened, but it's done in kind of a satirical way, but it obviously shows the horror of this kind of society under the veneer of civilization, because I guess Denmark hasn't had to confront their past as harshly as some other countries. They like to act as if it was all very civilized and it was nice, but this is a direct confrontation of that. It's a very exciting film. It's lavishly filmed, costume drama. It's beautiful. So Patty, do you want to say anything about Empire? Because we heard about this at the Palm Springs Festival. This was another Palm Springs discovery.
It's very satirical. It's different. It's a very unusual film, but it's really cool. I mean, I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
And that was the Danish Oscar submission this
Right.
year for the Oscars. Every country
And then
gets
don't
to
forget
submit it.
Medea plays again, right?
Yes, Medea is right over here at Asbury at 2:45. So yes, you have Medea at 2:45, Musica, Empire, and Shorts 2. Then we move into the next block and we open up again for Saturday our St. John's Theater. St. John's is where we're putting a lot of our big films with talent there. So we'll start at 4:30 p.m. Oh, someone's messaging me. Oh, Rudy Mancuso. Who is that? Oh.
That's the director.
Oh,
Of Musica?
no, it
Yeah.
isn't. Really?
It should be Friedkin and oh, what is their
Yeah.
name? I
That's
can
all
look in
right.
my Telluride program
Keep
here for
going,
it, but
Derek.
thank you, Caitlin.
Not
Okay,
important.
so anyways, I'll Be Right There is the movie that Edie Falco will be there in person for. She produced it. She's the lead actress, and she's just captivating to watch. And Patty, I'm going to let you talk about it really quick while I look
But
this up.
I'll just very quickly, this is a film about a woman who is in between. She's come out of a bad marriage, and she's now exploring her new worlds, with men and women and her own adult children, and she's trying to figure out who she is. And it's the title is I'll Be Right There, is because she has done nothing in her life but take care of everybody else. Oh, I'll be right there. So she's now trying to figure out how to not always be right there. But it's a very special kind of film, and I think Edie brings something to it. She plays it very kind of mid-level. She doesn't go over the top. She just makes you feel like this is every woman. So
Very
it's
relatable.
very relatable, and I think people will enjoy it a lot.
Okay, the directors of music are Rob Epstein and Jeffrey Friedman. Those were the
That's-
two names I was trying to think of. But okay, so I'll Be Right There was another discovery from Santa Barbara Film Festival, and after that, Sue's was also I found at Santa Barbara and absolutely love this film, but we'll get to that in a bit. So I'll Be Right There is at 4:30. Then you also have Free Time showing again at 4:30. You have The Black Experience starting at 5 p.m. The documentary this year, Garland Jeffries, The King of In Between, is about a musician who is a blues musician, right, Patty?
Yes, sort of soul pop, reggae, blues. I mean, he was very well known in the 60s and 70s, and 80s. I mean, to a certain culture, and a lot of people have never heard of him, but he's got musicians, famous people that just think he's one of the greats that never really made it. And this is his story, and it's told by his wife, who's the director of the film and who will be coming. She's been married to him for 40 years. Unfortunately, he won't be here because he's 73 and he has advanced Alzheimer's now. But also Malachi, this young man who graduated from NYU and was given this 2-year thing to go and like be his buddy, his friend, his caretaker with the wife, and he would walk with him and talk with him. And so everything he took in from this guy as his brain went from being, sort of beginning to be hijacked to now, this is what this young man got to experience. And so it's fascinating.
I know I love the tagline. To some people, his name means nothing. They've never heard of him, and to other people, his name means everything. So, and we're doing something special with the Black Experience this year and the Jewish Experience, where this is where we are going to premiere the Shorts Challenge winner from last year, because the winners of last year, Josh and Luke. Josh is Jewish, Luke is Black, and they got together to tell this story about both of their communities and how they're working together to heal different rifts. And so I think with the Black Experience, we're going to show it after the film, right, Patty, or before? No, it's going to be
we're showing it before.
Okay,
Right.
so it's called You Will Not Replace Us. So that will show before, and we'll have a quick Q&A with Luke and Josh, and then we'll go into the Garland Jeffries documentary and have a Q&A after that. Is that how we do it?
Yes, that's how we
Okay. And then the Jewish Experience the next day is reversed. We're showing the documentary, the feature doc first with a Q&A, then You Will Not Replace Us afterwards. Anyways, getting ahead of myself, back to 5 o'clock, Black Experience. And then over at the Boys and Girls Club, we have this charming film called Gondola that was shot in the country of Georgia, in this just breathtakingly spectacular mountainous country, where one of those cable car gondolas, what do you call those? Fundiculars, or there's these two cable car operators, women that are, and they, every time they pass each other, they kind of flirt with each other and they develop an attraction. And at first it's really playful and fun. They're dressing up in different costumes, and then it becomes something deeper, but it's all told without any dialogue. So it's got a lot of those silent film elements, physical comedy and expression, but just that says so much with visual. And it's just, I saw it in the European film market. It is such a cinematic spectacle. I hope you get to experience it on the big screen. Gondola is playing twice. It plays again on Sunday evening. So if you don't get to see it on Saturday, because there's a lot going on in this hour, maybe try to catch it on Sunday, but the filmmaker will not be here for it. So this is, if you're prioritizing films that have talent there, once again, Edie Falco will be there for I'll Be Right There. Garland Jeffrey's wife and his student, was it protege, will be there for discussion after the Garland Jeffries film. Free Time, the producers here. And then this is going to be big, is a documentary playing at Asbury. The filmmakers are not here, but I believe Mayor is Mayor Buckley going to be introducing this one because he's
I'm going to be
Australian,
asking
right?
him. Yes, I'm going to ask him. This is an Australian film, and it's up in the up in I think I don't know if it's the outback or the northern regions, and it's in a school for kids who are, they call neurodivergent, but you know, it's really on the spectrum. And these kids are in high school, and they're trying to, the teachers and the professors and whatever are trying to bring them to be able to do a musical for the end of the year. So trying to get them to hone in, just to learn their lines, to learn the music, to do all of these things is difficult. It's a challenge. And that's what this film is about. It's just such a great little film. It really is. So
So
this
is going to
big.
be big. And then after that in Asbury, we have A New Kind of Wilderness playing a second time. That's the Danish documentary. Over here in the Boys and Girls Club, we have a French film this year, My Motherland, starring Fanny Ardant, who was the wife of Truffaut. Francois Truffaut's wife. She's a famous French actress, and nobody's coming for that film, but it's a fascinating, moving, touching film about this woman who takes in an Afghan refugee to live with her, and she's kind of being overprotective because she's a widow, and her own son, she feels disconnected from him, so she becomes a little bit attached, and this refugee kid wants to go to a famous school and move away, and I won't give anything else away, but it's sort of a family drama. Then there's Shorts Program 3 plays again at 6:45, and then over back at St. John's, Sue's, my favorite film of the year, tied with Thelma. I think they're both women's name movies, Thelma and Sue's. Sue's is played by Michaela Watkins, who you might recognize from SNL or many different comedic TV shows and skits. She's always in movies with Julie Louis-Dreyfus playing her sister, it seems like. But she's kind of that sense of humor, and it's a wonderful story about a woman whose daughter just moved away to college, so she's an empty nester. She's going through perimenopause, and her life's starting to become in a rut because her husband, I won't tell you what happened with her previous marriage, but anyways, she finds a renewed sense of purpose in a very unlikely source, which is basically the ex-boyfriend of her daughter that moved away to college. So she ends up having to help him take care
Who
of
she
him.
absolutely hated.
Yeah, he annoys the heck out of her. He calls her Suze, and she's like, I told you not that. Don't call me that. So he's just kind of this airhead in a band called, what is it? The Something Losers or the
Something Morons.
Morons.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
What it is.
So, it's a comedy, but it's got a lot of heart, and it reminds me of those movies like You Can Count on Me and The Savages and The Skeleton Twins. If you like those type of films, you're going to love this. I don't know why this was not at Sundance. If it was, it would have won the Waldo Salt Screenwriting Award. Reminds me so much of those type of movies. But we have it here. I mean, I think
with
it's
the directors.
With the directors, a husband and wife team who wrote and directed it. They write for a lot of comedic TV in Canada. They're coming to the festival. This film's only played so far at Santa Barbara, Miami, and Annapolis. So it's really exciting we have this. And the producers of this had produced that feature Mary Goes Round, which we had at Annapolis in 2018, which won our jury prize. So I love the work that these producers do. Then over here, Call Me Dancer, the big premiere spotlight or whatever we call it, the big feature in Maryland Hall on Saturday night is a documentary about an Indian break dancer from the streets of India who becomes mentored by this Israeli ballet dancer and becomes he performs on the stage in New York now. So it's his journey. Patty, do you want to say anything about this? We saw this in Palm Springs.
His family, of course, doesn't want him to dance. They want him to drive a cab or something where he can make money. And he has to fight through all of that in India. And he has this wonderful coach who was this big ballet star in Israel, and he gets to go to Tel Aviv and be part of a dance company. And it's his journey into New York and trying to become a real dancer, which he is now, and he will be coming for the Q&A, which we're really excited about. So Manish is his name, and he'll be here.
Yep.
So that's the other good news.
And then almost to the end of the evening, we have once again a shorts program 4 plays again, and then Big Boys is in the Boys and Girls Club. But it's a gay film about I guess he's 15 or 16. He goes on a camping trip with his cousin, his favorite cousin, and sort of develops a crush on her boyfriend, which kind of makes him, it's sort of a coming out movie, coming of age movie. It's really charming the way it's done. There's a lot of other funny things that happen in the camping trip. His brother that he's always fighting with and trying to get him to go pick up girls at the camp. And there's just a lot of wonderful moments that happen in this film. It won the audience award at Outfest, which was the big gay and lesbian festival here in LA. And so
Coming of
this,
age,
yeah,
coming of age kind of movie.
and we paired it with a gay doc short called Campfire. A older guy coming to terms with his past of someone he had met years ago, trying to go find him at yet another, I don't know if it's a nudist camp. So there's like a theme of, we've got mafia and we have nudist camps. I don't know. It's called Campfire, but those two are paired up on Saturday night. And then we have the Flip Side. Flip Side at Asbury is our final film at Asbury for the festival. And it's a documentary about a comedy writer, filmmaker who is dealing with his midlife crisis by trying to save a record store, and also like reevaluating the archive of his material, many films that didn't get finished, but realizing the value of just the whole experience along the way. Patty, do you want to say anything about
this
film?
record store was one of like a nostalgic record store out in New Jersey, and he just goes back there to try, because he hasn't been able to finish anything, and he starts doing this documentary about this record store. So it takes in his whole journey along with getting back into all these old records, and people interesting interviews. And Gary Jobson did an interview with the director that was pre-recorded, which we will show at the end as instead of the Q&A, but we have that, and it's going to be great.
Because the director is the subject in the film.
Right.
Right. It's his own documenting. I haven't seen this film yet, but I've heard great things about it. Okay, so that's Flip Side. And then the final film at St. John's of the evening is Coup, second screening of Coup. So if you didn't get to see it on Friday, this is your chance to see it there. Of course, there's the Saturday night bash at the Graduate Hotel. All right, moving to Sunday, we're almost done. Jewish Showcase obviously starts with the bagel and lox breakfast at 8:30 a.m. And this year it's back over at St. John's. We go into the documentary Unbroken before we go to the shorts challenge film, They Will Not Replace Us. So Patty, what do you want to say about this?
Well, Unbroken is just such a special film, and Beth Lane, the director, is coming. And so this is the story of a family of 7 children in Germany during the war, and they had to be hidden on farms and all kinds of places. And they had to they kept this family together somehow. And the mother finally passes away, and the father is racing around the country with these 7 children. And one of them is extremely young, I think 2 years old or something. And so it follows their whole story. There's historical footage of it. I mean, it's amazing.
And the father's not Jewish, right, Patty?
The father was not born Jewish.
So he was sort of able to
became Jewish when he married the wife. When he married his wife, he became Jewish, and that was because the parents wouldn't let him marry otherwise. So he became Jewish, and that was it. So he's ending up now running around Germany with these children and hiding them. And then he gets them out of the country to America. They get fostered out all over this one area, and one of them gets adopted by this lovely couple and never connects to the rest of the family again for 40 years. And they finally found her. And that one, the youngest one, happens to be the mother of the director. So it's such a fascinating story. It's a ride to going on this, a journey, you know. So,
and it's not depressing and overly horrific. No. I mean, obviously, the facts of what has happened were, but it doesn't dwell on that as much as they
Exciting.
come to
It's-
America and deal with moving to
Right.
the US and then reuniting. Okay, so then we have at 10 a.m. in Maryland Hall, we have Girls Will Be Girls, which won the Audience Award at Sundance in their World Dramatic Competition. And so the director, Shuchi Talati, will be here for that. So there will be a Q&A afterwards with her and her husband, Kent, who was the producer on the film. So that's if you want to see a Sundance award winner, that's the place to do it. I think it's only playing that once unless it wins an award and we show it later. And then we always have our annual student shorts program that's in the Bowen this year, and that's free to the public, so tell your friends. It's a variety of comedy, drama, all sorts of really great animations. And then we have something for a family screening to bring the kids to, called Puff and Rock and the New Friends. It's an animation. So that's Sunday morning. Then at noon, for people who went to church in the morning, we programmed this later in the afternoon so they could make possum trot at noon. That is the second screening at Boys and Girls Club. Then, okay, here's a new one, Ezra. This is the first time. This is a spotlight for Sunday and directed by Tony Goldwyn. He also appears in the movie, but it's a huge cast from Robert De Niro to Rose Byrne to, Whoopi Goldberg, Patty. I'm going to let you talk about this one because this is the one.
Cannavale, yeah.
Patty met Tony at Palm Springs and got a picture with him. Tony Goldwyn.
I asked him to come here and he wanted to come, but the distributor had other plans, so we didn't get him. But I met him because actually he was in my son's film, King Richard, so they knew him pretty well.
He played the tennis coach,
Yeah,
one of the coaches, right?
And I was really excited that this was his directorial. I think this was the first thing he actually directed. I could be
No,
wrong.
he's directed stuff.
He's
before.
directed
Yep.
before, but this is very special to him because the writer of the film, who's one of his best friends, has an autistic son. And this is the story of a 12-year-old autistic boy played by an autistic boy who's an actor. And he does an amazing job. And he plays this boy, and the family is split up. His father and mother are divorced or separated. And the grandfather is Robert De Niro. And it's just the struggles of this family coping with this autistic child. It's very, very good. I mean, and it's an emotional story. It's funny too, because, there's some humor in it as well, because the father is a comedian, or trying to be a comedian. He's had a rough go. So that's
it's got a lot of heart and humor, and it's only playing this once, and it's in the small Bowen theater. We had, seating restrictions from the distributor, so we had to put it in the smaller theater. This is your chance to see it, but it might also come out on Hulu or Netflix or wherever it will go soon after. It's been playing a lot of festivals, so it's been quite demand.
It's going to be coming out soon.
And then this is your second chance to see Every Little Thing, the Hummingbird documentary in the main auditorium at Maryland Hall. This is your second chance to see Wildcat over at St. John's at 1:15. And then
and the
before we move,
panel, don't forget the women's panel.
Women's panel exactly is in that community room again in Maryland Hall across from the box office. And then 2:45, that's a second chance to see that documentary about the neurodivergent high schoolers putting on the play. That's at the Bowen. And then before we move to the closing film, this is an interesting shorts program, Meta Cinema. We termed our own phrase. Patty, what do you want to say about this interesting, unique shorts program with medical?
These are 3 short films documentaries that have medicine as their theme, and they're kind of out of the box. So one of them is actually a film that Gary Jobson made, How to Win a Nobel Prize, and it really focuses on, he interviews a lot of the experts that tell you how these scientists are winning Nobel Prizes, and particularly for the cure of cancer. That's what it's focused on. And so that's one film. The other one is called Winding Path, and it's a Native American film about a young woman who wants to become a cardiologist because her grandfather had a heart attack and died on the reservation because there was nothing available to help him.
And he was a doctor too, right?
He was
in the
I'm not sure. I
medical
think he might
industry.
have been. And then the third one is called Tattoo on the Brain, which is about a doctor who gets Alzheimer's, and he follows his own journey through this. It's an excellent film. And so those are the three films that make up our meta cinema. So that's a special presentation that we're
And
doing.
A Tattoo on the Brain also is about slowing the progression of Alzheimer's and
Yes.
things you can do with early onset. And I feel like all the films kind of are about precautionary measures
Yeah,
to
yeah.
help, you know, in
They are.
life. So Meta Cinema, and then our closing day film, 3 p.m. at Maryland Hall, the main auditorium, is The Idea of You, starring Anne Hathaway, produced by Anne Hathaway. Patty, what do you want to say about this film?
Oh, this is just one of those films that, everyone will love, it's just, it's just a really cool romantic comedy. And it's once again, a lot of mothers left behind, a lot of divorces here. But this is a woman who, husband, cheated and married a younger woman, this is a woman who's around 40 and her husband was around 40 and he marries a 24-year-old. And then she gets stuck with taking her daughter and her daughter's friends to Coachella for the weekend to see this boy band. And then she meets the singer in the boy band who's 24. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
Karma.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, it's going to be on Amazon soon. But we're very lucky to get this film. I think only the Miami Festival and us have it. None of the other big festivals have it this spring.
Yeah.
So there it is. There's the wrap. Everything else
Well,
are
I think
TBAs or
yeah.
encores, right?
Right. Yep.
Oh,
there is
local focus. I'm
there's a
so
local-
sorry.
that's
There is
okay.
the local focus at 5 p.m. That's another special event. Patty, what do you want to say about this one?
It's someone bringing a 15-minute Cassandra Vaughn, she was one of the writers on The Wire for years, and she's dabbling in directing her own thing. And she's done this 15-minute pilot that is supposed to take the Wire characters later, what's happened to them, but they're not really the Wire characters. It's just and this is a work in progress. But the thing that's interesting is she's bringing a lot of the actors that she's using to just discuss this whole place of Baltimore, the rough streets of Baltimore. So that's
Hey,
basically it.
any questions? Do
Yeah.
you guys want to type them in and we'll read any questions, or do we want to go to Caitlin? You're up next.
Yeah. Caitlin's up.
Thank you. All
Yeah, my side of this is technical, everybody. So if we want to take, 4 or 5 minutes, if anybody has burning questions about programming, I definitely think that we should do that before we get into, my little technical titty bits.
Which are very important. And did the RSVPs go out for opening night already? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have questions. Anybody want to unmute themselves? Or I don't see anything coming into the chat. Totally fine if we just want to move on to my part.
I think it was long. Let's go on.
Yep. All right. And I'm going to tune out, you guys.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
go back to
Derek, you want to stop screen sharing?
Thank you. Yep. Here, I'll
Amazing.
stop it. There we go.
Derek and Patty, thank you so much for oops, I'm sorry. We're getting feedback. Sorry about that. Thanks so much for sharing all your insights about the films. You've gotten us so excited about it. Your passion is infectious, and really appreciate you noting when it's another time to see that great movie, or gosh, this is a chance to see this one. So really appreciate you highlighting all the gems you guys have squared away for us. Thank you.
Great. I got to go home and pack for my flight tomorrow. So I will see you
Okay.
soon in
Okay.
Annapolis.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Amazing. My name is Caitlin Ryan. I'm the director of operations here at the Annapolis Film Festival. If you've received an email from the box office, that was probably me, but we also have a really lovely gentleman, Alex Murphy, who's going to be running that operation out of 205 this year. So a couple of just like hit points for your festival going and that you can share with all of your friends. Ticket and Pass Central opens up at Maryland Hall on Tuesday, April 2nd at 11 a.m. Ticket and Pass Central is where, if you have not already received your pass, you will go and pick up your pass or passes. And we are there every single day from Tuesday all the way through the 7th. If you're having any issues with tickets or you want tickets printed, if you've got additional benefits that came with your patronage here, like additional opening night tickets or maybe 6 ticket packages, you can go ahead and come into Maryland Hall and we'll help you through that whole process. There's a lot that you can do with that. You can transfer those tickets, send them to other people. We can print them out for you in-house, all that groovy stuff. A couple of other important things about the festival in total I want you to remember is this group of patrons here for opening night. If you're coming to Maryland Hall, which I hope that you are, and you're coming especially to the VIP pre-reception party, which is in the Bowen Theater. As you turn the street and enter into Maryland Hall, the first parking lot that you'll see after the apartments is what Maryland Hall has labeled Lot B. That is your designated parking area. We did that specifically because the pre-party is early and then the after party is at the Hillman Garage. And so we wanted to give you, depending on what your schedule looks like that day, if you're attending, a designated place to go ahead and park. So you'll just show your pass and we'll let you into that lot. And then it gives you kind of first access out of the property after the Q&A is over for Thelma to get over to the Hillman Garage. In case it wasn't super obvious or maybe we missed it in our communication, parking is complimentary at the Hillman Garage for the opening night after party. So if you are driving, you'll just go ahead and come in either from Main Street or from Duke of Gloucester to enter into the Hillman Garage. And one of our staff members literally just writes your license plate into the app and we pay for your parking. It's built into the price of your patronage or the price of an individual opening night ticket. So if you know that friends are coming and they're not exactly sure how to navigate all of this, just let them know you can park at the garage underneath where we're having the party, and it's complimentary for all of our guests. In addition to that, this was the first time since 2019 we're going to be back at St. John's College. And so I think it's also important to remind everybody that the state parking lot that's right across from Mellon Hall where the auditorium is free on Saturdays and Sundays. So if you're going to be coming to any of our programs on Saturdays and Sundays, there's lots of ample parking. I know there's a lot of construction down there right now, but that garage is free for everybody on Saturdays and Sundays for parking. In addition to that, if you don't think that you've RSVP'd for opening night or you can't remember or you didn't actually receive an email from the box office, just go ahead and email the box office and say, you know what, I'm not exactly sure. An RSVP is required for opening night, and this is specifically so that we have enough seats for everybody, all of our pass holders, filmmakers in industry, as well as individual ticket holders, and that everybody's got a comfortable seat and they're enjoying their experience that evening. And then as far as that goes, I hope everybody is ready to just have a very good time. Other fun things that are going to be happening is we do have food and beverage available at all of our venues this year. We've got some amazing community partners coming with food trucks. We will have at Asbury and St. John's College Capriati's that are going to be providing sandwiches for sale. We've got some bakery items coming. So if you are in that moment where you're like, I want to see all of these incredible films that we just went over for everything, but you're like, damn, when am I going to have a moment to eat lunch? We will have that available right at the venues for you. Boys and girls included, they're going to have a food truck. So definitely don't miss out on any of that. And then we also have physical program guides now, which Mr. Drew, I saw that you were looking through your program earlier when we were talking. That was a nice little screenshot that hopefully everybody got to see. It's beautiful. There we go. So those programs will be physically available for pickup on the 2nd inside of Maryland Hall as well, if you wanted to grab a couple of more. And then we will have the 11:17 schedules available, which is kind of, an accessible blown up version of just the grid, like we were looking at it with Derek's presentation, as well as the festival map, and then kind of like parking and transit information. I like to fold that up almost like a pocket guide and keep it with me. It definitely keeps me on track for the festival. Outside of just that opening night pre-reception and the after party, your patronage gets you into the Friday Mixer, which is at O'Brien's, which is also on the schedule, so don't forget that one, as well as the Saturday evening bash at the Trophy Room, which is inside the Graduate Hotel. And like Patty and Derek were talking about, that's where we announce the jury prize winners as well as the Shorts Challenge winner. That's always a really, really great party. And so I recommend that everybody try to go to it. The Filmmaker Lounge is going to open up at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Your patronage and your badge level also gets you access into that space. So if you wanted that moment to maybe, just have a second to talk to a director that you met or talk to a producer that you met, I definitely recommend that you use the Filmmaker Lounge for that. There's, coffee and snacks and stuff in there throughout the days that we're going to be there. Any kind of burning operational how to navigate the festival questions? No, you know what? You guys are solid. Now, here's the thing though, but like you've shot yourself in the foot, is now you have to be my ambassadors. So when somebody comes to you and asks you a question, you've got all of the information, and that means that the box office hotline is not so hot. I thought I saw maybe a hand up in the Zoom. I'm not exactly sure who it is. Well, that's mine now. Anybody? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to go on mute and then hand it back over to Tracy. Again, anytime, the easiest way to get back to customer service here at the Annapolis Film Festival, you've got our phone number for the office. You can call that. But really starting on Tuesday, April 2nd, all of us are going to be out of the office. We start building the festival around town. So just email that box office at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com email address, and you're going to get immediate responses that way. Even if you're requesting a phone call back, we'll be able to assist you.
Thanks so much, Kate. You know this festival like the back of your hand. I'm envying your ability to remember when everything is happening because there's so much great stuff. But rest assured, everybody, either from me or some wonderful sponsor relations folks we have helping us, you'll get communications every day throughout the festival, reminding you of the cool stuff happening and where, and some tips and tricks, and cool updates, to again make sure you have the best time possible. Many thanks from all of us, because without people like you, it just would not be possible. There would be no movies, there would be no great venues, there would be no staff. So you are the heart and soul of us being able to make, cinema happen here in Annapolis. So many thanks. And this has been recorded. So if your friends or family missed it, or you want to remind yourself, we're going to be sending out a link within a day or two, and you can share it with your friends, but we'll send it all to other sponsors as well. So any other remaining questions that have occurred to anybody? Okay. Well, with that, I bid you good night. Rest well, because you've got some movies to watch pretty soon. Night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.